So you want to know what a shitty day looks like when it comes to aquariums? Well, keep watching. This is going to be interesting. So, yesterday, oh my god. Really, sometimes I wonder, why? Just why? And it all started with that. So I got my crayfish in there. You know, a little 10-gallon and 3 crayfish. You know, they do fine. They're not hurting each other. They're used to each other. But it started out with me trying to get this 55-gallon tank set up to do something different. This thing is always going through changes because I need it for various different things. Now, here's the dealio. I needed to grow some plants. Now, my shrimp tanks have been having weird issues, but I think I figured out what those issues were. You see, my neon yellows were having problems for a while. The colony was starting to die off. I couldn't figure out why for the longest time. Now, part of this was my fault because I had ran out of my nitrate testing kit. I had done a large water change just a week prior to the colony dying off, and I thought, well, you know, it's a whole tank water change. It's stressful on the little guys. I can understand a few dying, but that's not enough to cause nitrates at this point. But sure enough, I ordered a new nitrate test, and nitrates were off the charts, easily 40 to 80 parts per million. Yeah, that's insane. The fact that as many survived as much as they did is crazy. These guys are way hardier than people give them credit for. So here's the deal. I figured out that, you know what? I need plants. I've been doing this for years now without plants, or at least with just some hornwort, which is good but not great. So I decided, you know what, I can't have nitrates spike like that because I've done a completely different method on feeding them, which involves using reverse osmosis deionized water and then remineralizing it with Shrimp King shrimp salts. Brings it back up and gives them the essential electrolytes and such that they need. Now, after that, I use Bacteria AE because this creates biofilm, or it helps facilitate biofilm, which is very important for shrimp babies. Well, I have read the warnings about how easy it is to overdose Bacteria AE, and I thought I was doing my best to give as little as possible. Well, a little goes a long way, apparently, because that's probably what ended up causing the nitrates to spike super high. So I moved them over to this tank over here. This tank is my new tank. They're doing fine here. There's 1 or 2 deaths, but that was because of the, you know, swapping tanks. It's to be expected. But very few things have been going wrong in here. So, plants. Going back to plants. I need plants to suck up nitrates. Well, I ordered some plants. I got some floaters. These are Sylvania. Sylvania? I don't know how to pronounce the word. It's a floater plant. Floaters are great because, well, they don't need to be in the sand, and they suck up nitrate and multiply quickly. Great. You see over here, I got a bunch of green ones. Awesome. A guy at a pet store gave me some for free, and that guy is super chill. Total respect to the guy, it sure helps. But it wasn't really enough, and these things aren't supposed to multiply quick, but they're not multiplying very quick for me. A lot of them are brown right here because I ordered some offline. I ordered a huge amount. And a good, like, 90% of them were DOA. I'm trying to salvage as much of these as I possibly can. So, I've been having them in the tanks. You know, some of them are in here. There's a lot of nitrate in this tank, which they'll suck up. It's just not doing so hot. And part of it is the Finex Stingrays that I use are not really for high-tech purposes, and these are very low-tech plants. They don't require something special. But, given the fact that I'm trying to get them to grow and multiply, I had a solution, which harkens back to this tank over here. Now, this tank is messy. There's no denying that, but there's a good reason why I don't touch it. It's because it seems to work. These are all my Mexican dwarf crayfish. And if you look in here, I have some Sylvania. Come on, focus. It's a little older. This tank used to be straight hard water, which grows algae like you would not freaking believe. It's because the hard water has a ton of nutrients in it that my remineralized water doesn't. It's not set up for plants, it's set up for livestock. So, brings me back to this. This has a light from Fluval, which is way better at growing plants than my Finnex Stingrays. I know that from past experience. Now, I also know that hard water grows plants a lot faster. And I know this to be true for Sylvania, because you look back there, that used to be in the 10-gallon I was just showing you with the baby crayfish. Huge roots, beautiful green, and that was done in a low-tech light in a small tank. Now, I got all these floaters, the exact same species, inside some hard water with the light here. Now, everything sounds like I have it figured out, right? Well, let me start to explain where things went bananas. While I was filling this up, first I had to fill up that tank right there, set it up for the crayfish. They're happy, they're doing good. Then I had to get this tank set up. This tank had RODI water with CCAM replenish to bring the TDS and minerals and such back. But that's not what I wanted. I wanted hard water. I drained all of it and I started filling it back up. And the water that comes out of the well is super, super, super cold. So I decided, alright, I'll put my 250 watt Aquarium Pro in there and it'll heat up the water. Great. Well, not so great. Because this is what happened. That, my friends, is the results of an explosion. Silica, or some sort of substance like it, sprayed everywhere all over the tank. So stuff from inside the filter, just everywhere. Big pop. Water boiling all right next to it. Unplug it. I'm like, what the heck? First off, these things are supposed to turn off when they detect that they're dry. They automatically turn back on when they know it's submerged. Great. They're also made from a solid metal construction. Super strong. Great. Did it do anything to prevent itself from exploding this time? No. So unfortunately, I spent the next few hours cleaning up silica all throughout the tank here. And while I was doing that, I had another problem. Because I'm using straight well water, I've got a ton of sediment. Yeah, look at all that. That came from the well water. That's like iron, clay, thankfully no copper. I've tested for copper. And this stuff gets everywhere. It's a biofilter killer. So, once I got the silica out of the water, which luckily that stuff floats, so I was able to scoop it out using a towel, because it was so fine that you can't really use any other method to clean it up with. A few hours of that. Then I have to wait for all the iron and detritus to sit back down on the ground. I have to siphon all that out, and you can see I'm still not done with it a day later. Freaking nuts. And then I have to test the water. I put some ammonia in the water to see where the filter's at, only to find the filter is going through a mini cycle on top of all this for many reasons. Probably one, because, 100% water change, but two, the hard water, because of the condition of the water that came in, may have killed a lot of the bacteria. So I have to rebuild the bacteria, which sucks, because this filter right here, which also needs to be cleaned, as you can see, thanks to it trapping a ton of the gunk that was floating freely in the water, has, 2,000, 4,000, 6,000... No. I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4,000 grams of Fluval Biomax, and 1 entire tray of Seachem Matrix. So that's a ton of beneficial bacteria media. Where the heck did all the bacteria go? Well, I'm going to have to restart it all over again. So I might just go get some Turbo Start, deal with that. Because I need nitrates for these plants to suck up, and include it along with all the nutrients that come from the hard water, which I know makes this plant grow really fast. So this one thing that really should have only taken maybe 20 minutes ended up taking several freaking hours. Why? Because the plants I ordered were dead. And now I'm trying to salvage what little of my huge order that I can. That's why everything down here looks like garbage, because I am trying to do so many things at once. It's just ridiculous. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. One problem leads to another. Boy. Well, anywho, that's it, guys. Wish me luck. I am trying to get this figured out.